Dun dun. Well, hello everybody. So we are here doing the Arvynia charity fashion show interviews, and who else but to have as a guest but the designer herself, Mrs. Arvynia. Mrs. Arvynia. So could you
to your fashion.
married to your fashion? Ooh, that's kind of deep. So could you tell us just who the heck are you?
My name is Van, and I come from Chicago. And who am I? I'm Vietnamese American, and I'm an ALT at Mitsuhashi High School in Toyama, and I've been here for 5 years.
5 years,
Yep.
Pretty long time, huh?
And I've been doing this semi-seriously for the past 2.5 years now. But I went to college for fashion designing, so.
Yeah, when did you first get really interested in fashion?
High school, it started with like drawing, anime, and then as I got more into drawing, I got more into designing the clothes on the anime figures. And then when I was in high school, I've decided that I wanted to be a fashion designer, and then I went and became a fashion designer. I got the degree for that.
So do you feel like the reason you really first got into fashion was because of Japanese? Because of like Japanese influence? Anime and
I think
characters
so, because
and stuff like
I
that?
always, when I watch like American cartoons, the clothes are so plain. You know, have you ever seen like the Disney movies cartoons and stuff? Like, you know, it's just usually one flat color, and it's not that interesting. But when I got into anime, and I saw the fashion in the anime and the games and stuff, it's just so much detail.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I got really interested in doing more detailed work, and I think that's where a lot of my designs specializes in, is because I like details.
Do you feel like there were any specific anime that influenced your style? Like, oh, I really like Ranma, or I really like Ninja Turtles, or whatever?
No, not specific anime that influenced my style, but when I watch animes or play video games, there's certain details that I really like that I would like to incorporate, or I keep it in my mind when I design something next time. But right now, it's more of an overall thing. Like, I don't have one specific anime that I'm inspired by it. It's more of like the whole culture of that, you know, like the games and stuff like that have that type of fashion in it. But you don't see it in everyday life. And not many people would necessarily wear it because it's not quite practical.
Yeah, it's a bit more grand.
Anyway. Yeah.
Well, do you feel like there's any influences, like specific people who influenced your work? Like maybe an artist, maybe you got some influence from?
Yeah, I get influence from other artists, actually. I like to follow other designers that are kind of going in towards the same niche that I am. So I like to keep up with them and see what they're doing. And even though their design is completely different, so they started where I started and they've gone so far. And I see the type of work that they do, and it just inspires me because I kind of feel like I don't have to follow mainstream. Like, I can do what works for me and what I like to do, and there will be somebody out there that likes what I do. So I don't feel so pressured in trying to fit in with the norm, like the mainstream, like designing and, you know, like mass-produced clothes and stuff like that. So, yeah. Like, it's more of people's drive that inspires and motivates me than it is anything else. But of course I love their work too. Even though it's completely different from mine, I still really like and get inspired by them too. And one specific, there's two right now that I'm following really closely. Like, if you guys know steampunkcouture.com, she does amazing work, and her style is really, really interesting. I really like her a lot. And then another one is also another Vietnamese designer, and she goes by Shrinkle.
Cool.
Yeah, she's Vietnamese American too, and she is just really inspirational, and she has her own fashion line and like a new makeup line too, which I'm using for the fashion show, which is called Sugar Pickle. But yeah, I really, really like them both a lot, and they're both very completely different from my own personal style, but just seeing what they were doing and how far they got and stuff like that. It's really cool.
What about artists that are not necessarily fashion designers? Like, I know you're a big fan of Lady Gaga, the Gogs. Do you have any other, like, artists or shows that you're watching right now, or movies that you've been especially impressed by?
I guess
music that you get inspired by or anything?
Yeah, actually, I do like Lady Gaga, and I think her stuff is really interesting. But I think I think she is more for like Alexander McQueen, and I really like his stuff too. But for music, I really like metal and epic music. And if you guys know, one of my favorite band is Nightwish.
Nightwish, good band.
And I just love their music because it's just so epic. Like, it tells a whole story in it. So whenever I listen to their music, I'm just like, oh my god, this guy's gonna go fight some battle, and then he's going to die, and his lover's gonna wait for him forever. And it just makes me feel like I want to, like, design something for that scene. And like all my like designs would be based around that scene, and then I would like think of a line for that, and it's really fun. And another favorite band that gets me pretty inspired and pumped up is like Dragon Force, and I learned through them through like playing Guitar Hero. So yep.
Yeah, that's really interesting, that talking about a story, because looking at your pieces, it almost seems like your outfits have the story in themselves. And one of the main parts of your fashion show is the skits, actually, where the models go up and they wear the costumes and they do some sort of skit. So do you feel like each of your pieces has sort of a history?
I feel like each of the pieces, maybe they could have a history, but I feel like as a collection has more of a story than as a piece in itself, because for this year we're doing the fashion show. It's called Runway Epic, and the theme for it is like the three gangs of Toyama. And I feel like when I created the pieces for each of those lines, I tried to give them each a unique, like, detail or style or something, where they're in this world where they all get together, and then there's an epic battle, and crap hits the fan. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say my pieces have stories, but more so that they show a feeling of like nostalgia, I guess. When you look at my piece, you're like, oh, that's very like, like Asian, or oh, that's very like ethnic, and stuff like that. So I think it's more of a feeling of where it came from rather than there's a story behind it.
That's pretty interesting. When I want to get into a little bit about the actual process behind creating a piece. How do you start, and how do you have like an idea of what it's going to look like before you even start designing? Or do you basically just sit down and start drawing and it all starts coming out?
Well, usually I would get inspired by some sort of detail, and then I would design based on that detail and work around it. So, like, for example, one of the details for one of the line is corset, and I was thinking that, what if we can make a jacket out of a corset? So I pretty much based my design around having the idea of a fitted center for the jacket corset. So that was one example of it. Yeah, so I like details.
Yeah, I know a lot of your fashion really centers around the corset. So what is it about the corset that you like? Do you wear corsets?
Nope. I probably would if I have time to make myself one. But I've worn a couple of very casual plastic bone corsets when I was in college and stuff, but I haven't worn any real steel-boned ones that I've made myself yet. But I really like corset. I really like how they make people look, and especially how they make people feel. So when I have somebody that orders a corset from me and they try it on for the very first time, I think, like all the work put in there is worth it. And every piece of corset that I make have a little bit of my DNA in it.
Ooh, that's a little gross.
Just a little bit. Just maybe like a drop. Somewhere, but you won't find it.
All right, well, that was really interesting. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, not really.
Maybe just say, come to my show?
Oh, yeah, that's right. So the show is on June 18th, and I've never really had a chance to talk about myself like in an interview way before, so I don't know what to tell people. But if you guys have any questions or anything, maybe I'll see. Maybe one of these days I'll be cool and actually have a fact about myself, like all the other many, a fact, an FAQ, like so many other designers out there. But yeah, as of right now, I can't really say anything else except for, please come to my fashion show. It's 1,500 yen for adults and 500 for children, and all the proceeds go to the Red Cross Society and Toyama Aikuen. And we are having a charity booth for a charity garage sale booth, and that sale goes to the Scottish Autism Society and is being led by Debbie. So we're trying to support as many charity as we can. And I know that there's a lot of charity events going on right now. Maybe people are getting like, a little bit overloaded. But this is an event that doesn't happen every year, and it's going to be fun and it's going to be epic. So please come.
All right. Thank you very much, Vannie-chan. We'll see you later.
Bye.